Welcome back, everybody, to another Hard Truths podcast. My guest, Salvatore Pais, requires no introduction. However, I am going to give an introduction here because there's a great bio that I found earlier this week. Salvatore Cesar Pais received the PhD degree in mechanical and aerospace engineering from Case Western University in Cleveland, Ohio. He was a NASA graduate research fellow with the NASA Glenn Research Center in Cleveland. He was with NavAir, NOCAD, NASPAX, Patuxent River, Maryland, USA. He was a general engineer, advanced concepts analyst with Northrop Grumman Aerospace Systems, where he currently he works with the Department of Defense, Department of Navy, Strategic Systems Program in Washington, D.C. This was a few years ago, where he's involved in a permanent civilian capacity. He has advanced knowledge of theory, analysis, and modern experimental and computational methods in aerodynamics, along with understanding of air vehicle and missile design, especially in the domain of hypersonic power plant and vehicle design. Furthermore, he has expertise in electro-optics and emerging quantum technologies, particularly the laser power generation arena and high energy electromagnetic field generation, besides condensed matter physics, such as the emergent breakthroughs of room temperature superconductivity as related to advanced field propulsion. Okay, without further ado, my friend Salvatore Pais, how are you doing today, brother?
Oh, brother. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Dude,
You,
why do you not say your resume more often? Holy
you,
crap,
y-
man.
your words are amazing, bro. Come on, man. It's all hype. It's all words, bro. Look, what matters is what
Those are
we
some
leave
words.
behind, and that's our ideas, our concepts. And as long as they're original, they signify something. As long as you impart them to an honorable schoolboy and say he or she can understand what's going on, then there you go.
Do you ever worry that you're on like an Iranian or Russian hit list for people that need to be like taken out?
Not at all. I'll tell you the truth. There's so many more that are so much brighter. We have some incredible people, brother. You trust me, there are people that you will never then know the names of. Never ever that have never been on a podcast or anything of that nature, but they're absolutely brilliant, and the enemy has no idea of their existence. Thank God for that. Look, the bottom line is this. Let me tell you what guides me. Okay, I call it the Pais doctrine of physical engineering, or rather, engineering of physics. Simple is good, while complex is not. Again, simple is good, while complex is not. These 7 words guide everything I do. So that's it.
Do you work with some of those brilliant people that you think that nobody will ever know their names, but they're super smart?
I can never say that, nor
Okay.
can I say whom I worked with, but put it this way, brother. None of the Pais Effect work, none of the Superforce work come from any program that I worked on. As a matter of fact, this is no joke. All this will one day be proven original, completely original. Now, the the serendipity that it brought, and I tell you right off the bat, the disclosure folks, let's call them that, because I did promise you not to use certain
Yeah, we'll be nice to
strong
them.
words, but the disclosure folks hated how these patent applications entered the scene out of nowhere. And I am pretty sure that certain people who shall remain nameless were completely taken aback by them, as they are by, for example, your ability to read physics papers, especially aneotronic fusion for certain propulsion characteristics, such as the Bussard Ramjet. The work of Paul Sis, one of the greatest that we have ever had in hypersonics, ever.
You ever work with him?
Oh, I wish. No, no. He's a legend. He's an absolute legend. No, I
Well, see, that's
wish.
the thing. I do read scientific papers, and recently I've been reading your scientific
Oh,
papers. And so this is definitely something I want to talk
uh,
to you about. But before we get to that, I just have more general questions. I'm just a healthcare IT guy, but I just have so
yeah,
much stuff
yeah.
to understand.
Who understands what beta squares on the order of r cubed means? Oh, by the
I don't
way,
know,
and this is
fancy numbers.
incredibly important. It's not high beta. And I believe you stated this once. It's not the high beta that we should focus on. It's this beta on the order of one that really matters. The whole idea that
Yeah.
plasma pressure is on the order of the magnetic field pressure.
I
Meaning
wanted to
what?
ask you about that.
Meaning what?
It
B
means the
squared,
plasma.
beta square is on the order of r cubed, r being your characteristic, say, length of your reactor or whatever unit you want to call this, say, a neutronic fusion unit, which means what? The compact reactor talks to beta on the order of one. That's why. And I remember you stating something of that nature, that it's the beta on the order of one that matters.
Yeah,
You're
it's
a
the balance.
100% on the money. It's
You
not the
don't want a
high
beta
beta,
higher than one. You want a beta of one, right? You want it to be because it's about a
because it
balance.
talks beta squares on the order of r cubed on the order of one. Meaning what? You really want something compact. And
Yeah.
I
Okay.
and I will explain exactly why.
Hmm.
Think, okay, let's go first principles and as a first order approximation. This is not magnetohydrodynamics, where terms like dB, dt, and the certain curls of the B field times a characteristic velocity enter into the equation. No, this is just the ideal gas law. So we're talking about P, pressure, is on the order of rho RT, R being a gas constant, T being temperature, rho being density.
Hmm.
Now, there's another way for compressible fluids, which a gas would be. Again, before the gas phase, before the plasma phase, you really have a gas. So a gas at very high temperature would become ionized, hence plasma, the fourth state of matter. Now, this is very interesting. Pressure is an energy density. We talk about joules per meter cube. That's what pressure is. It's like a force per surface area.
Okay.
So, so the way now notice P is on the order of rho RT, even for ideal gases. Again, first order approximation. Think of the plasma just as a regular gas, but with a very high temperature. So then means what? Your energy density is really guided by just temperature, linear. No good. There's another way. Pressure is on the order of rho density
Mhm.
times the characteristic speed squared. And that's where the Pais effect comes in, because that characteristic velocity can be written under an accelerated mode as your amplitude, say, we're talking about vibration, not just actual spin here, but vibration. Omega square times a characteristic time. You see, that omega square, bang, it becomes a quartic, from a quadratic to a quartic. So we talk about highly nonlinear. That's why that
That's why
that idea, that
non-equilibrium
energy
plasma.
density,
Hmm.
exactly. So what you really want to do is accelerate the plasma within the core, which is, I remember you mentioning something of that nature. That's exactly what the polywell truly does. In
It's a few. Yeah. It's
but
in a particle
but the
accelerator.
plasma
Mm.
compression fusion device, the one I'm talking about, the dynamic fuses, this is where they come in. We're talking about under certain like a resonance condition. Look at equation 7 in that paper. It's very important. It talks about uh,
It
an
appears.
energy amplification that becomes exponential with time, and a characteristic angular velocity given a certain harmonic oscillation. It's extremely important. We're talking about breaking the Schwinger limit, brother. Now, the whole idea is not to break the Schwinger limit. You don't want that in a neutronic fusion device, because then you have created that wormhole that you well
Yeah.
know and show in the videos. I'm 100%, I'm 100% sure I'm coming out 2026, new year. I'm just saying it now. I'm 100% sure that you're 100% right. These videos are real. Real,
Definitely.
real, not CGI, not someone's idea of real,
No, they
real.
definitely are real. I'm not even
Would you know what
self-conscious
that
about it.
means? Would you know what that means if they had this technology in 2014?
What does it mean?
Imagine what they have now, brother.
Yeah,
Which,
imagine what they have now.
remember, give me some time to talk about weapons of time.
Oh, we're going to. We're going
All
to.
right, brother. Go
So,
ahead.
there's the video. So let me ask you, oh man, so many
Okay.
things I wanted to ask you here. I guess the first one though is, did you know these videos were real because of the the plasma orbs? Like, is that the sign that like gave it away? Because I mean, you have a scientific paper about a fusion reactor, and like that has to be high beta because these
There
have
were
to be
so
high
many
beta because
things.
they're compact.
There were so
We'd
many
have to be much.
things, brother. So many things. The moment they started pulsating within the unit, the only way you want to do that is to pack as much energy density within that area, within that cross section, to create the breaking of the Schwinger limit. That's the only thing. How? How
Oh,
can someone, unless you 100% understand the physics and have seen this happen? And why would you create CGI if you actually have the videos? Think about it. You and I are on the same frequency. We're vibrating at the same frequency. You and I know this thing is real. Now,
yeah.
I mean, this is disclosure right there. Whether the anyway, no names. Yeah.
So, how did you get involved in plasma physics and science?
If I tell this is a lot of people will not believe me because they look at
I'll
that
believe it.
paper. As a matter of fact, the chief editor who read that paper said, who did you study under? Do you know I have a letter? I actually, I, I
Yeah, who the hell
have
did
it
you study
somewhere.
under? Exactly.
The director of the Princeton Plasma Physics Institute wrote to me because in that paper I mentioned that um, I speak of three devices, one of them being the Lockheed Martin, the other the
You also
Polywell, and the Princeton
the Princeton.
one.
Yep.
Right. He wrote to me on letterhead anyway, basically saying that he disagrees with the way I interpret that their device does not, how should I say, have high performance and so forth. I never wrote back. I look, just the fact that he bothered show me that he was bothered. You understand?
Mm.
Just the fact that he bothered to write that letter showed me that he was bothered with my idea. And of course, he, later on in the letter, he tries to say, "Oh, have you looked at this and this? I think your idea is not new, really," because the chief editor that approved after a long time. This went in two different peer reviews because when they found out I'm not a plasma physicist, oh, they took me for another peer review. But the person that had the final say said this he's never seen this idea before, and he was totally blown back. And he did ask me, is this part of a weapon system? So he understood that this can lead to a plasma disruption fusion weapon that you and I discussed. The whole idea of Z pinch with a
Oh, I
fusion
know.
twist. Anyway, sounds like a cocktail, right? Cocktail, baby.
Mm.
But
Yeah, it would sound crazy to anybody else that hadn't seen a plane disappear out of the sky.
and then
Yeah. So he asked you, but so who did you?
uh,
So you didn't answer the question though. Where did
go
you?
ahead.
Why get involved in plasma physics? I mean, you're writing patents about fusion reactors, and
I've
you're
always been
adamant that it.
interested in fusion, so I read as much as I could, and I remember when I came upon the Polywell device by
Mhm.
Dr. Bussard. I
Yeah.
hold him in the highest of esteem. To paraphrase his great saying, the whole idea that he's never seen a star in the shape of a donut. I mean, this man was not only a great physicist, he had this comedic character that was just, oh God, I wish I had met
I
him.
mean,
I mean,
he
he's
is the
he's
guy that he was on
unbelievable.
the committee to come up with the idea of building the tokamaks, and he's the guy that's shitting all over them, saying that it's useless, it's a waste of money, it's just a money printing device, it doesn't actually going to get anywhere. And
And
then
the
he's coming
Russians
out with the
gave it
book.
to us to set us back.
Maybe the
I
Russian
love
gave us
that.
this so we'd never get there. Like
Yeah, yeah, exactly. To make sure
saying
we
that
don't.
there's fusion reactors everywhere in the sky, and none of them are shaped like a donut.
Dude,
Like,
it goes again. Beta square is on the order of R cubed. Beta square is on the order of R cubed. The moment you realize that the plasma pressure must be on the order of the magnetic field pressure to truly optimize the fusion device, then you actually see that this has to be compact. R cubed is on the order of 1, which means what? This thing should be like a sphere of about 1 meter in
yeah,
diameter
1 meter
or
sphere.
radius. which should be like 2 meters in diameter. So whatever's inside that orb, say that orb is, I don't know,
So let me just
10
explain something because
meters,
people are bad at
inside it
math.
is really a 2 meter device, something of that nature. But
Yeah,
anyway,
let me
yeah,
explain what just Sal's explaining there. So when we say beta squared r cubed, the r cubed is a radius, so that's in meters. So 1 is what we need it to be, because if you're cubing it, the number gets really big really quickly. So even if you took 2 and you cube it, now that number becomes 8. So that reduces the overall equation significantly. So we need that number to be small as possible, or we need that number to be 1. So that
exactly.
that's what we're trying to achieve. So that says, okay, now we have an idea for how big this device should be. It should be 1 meter. I mean, that's the ideal situation. It could be a
The
little bit
power
bigger or
plant,
smaller.
the power plant,
The
but
power
the
plant.
orb itself is gonna be
But the
bigger.
plasma it's shooting out
Right.
is going to be bigger than that, because
Exactly.
the device on
That's
the inside
exactly
is
it.
going to be the 1 meter device.
You'll be like an
So
aura around the thing.
let me
So
ask
the
you
whole
another
thing is
question.
driven. The whole thing is driven by this simple relation. Beta square is on the order of r cubed, where r is your
Yeah.
characteristic radius, say, of your fusion device.
Hmm. And let me
And
ask
beta,
then.
as you well know, is that plasma pressure divided by
Mhm.
magnetic field pressure, which you are the only one that I heard optimally should be on the order of 1. You
Yeah.
hit that thing on the, like, boom.
It was Jay Young Park that taught me that. And I
Yeah,
was surprised that I hadn't figured out that it was about balance, not about making your beta as high as possible, because it makes more sense. Because everything, when we talk about resonance and waves, everything's always about balance. It's not about just cranking it up as high as possible. But this wasn't, you just brought something else that I've been wondering about on my live streams watching this. Was the thing about the polywell device is that it's the structure is still external to where the fusion is happening. So when I look at this, though, I can see that the plasma is clearly on the outside. At least I think so, unless the green heat signatures are the structure on the inside. But I don't think it is. I think that's like either the hot electrons or maybe a conductor or something. So what do you think they changed then here? Because I don't think the polywell is exactly what we're looking at here, but I do think it's the basis for these orbs. I think that the polywell was incorporated into hypersonic designs to turn it into an engine, which is all the negative drawbacks of the polywell are all solved by flying it around through the sky. I mean, not being able to collect enough hydrogen. I mean, that was the big one. So that's just solved right away. So I think they
exactly why
incorporated the
that
hypersonics, but
happens.
why does it
Exact
look like a
again,
sphere? Go ahead.
simple is good,
Yeah.
while complex is not. That why you're seeing what you're seeing is discussion for skiff, brother. Definitely
Yeah, no, I
not
mean, I think a lot of my
podcast.
stuff's discussion for skiffs. It's too bad that they haven't
It is amazing that they have not contacted you yet with the things that you've been saying, say, within the last 2 or 3. It's very interesting. It's
and
very,
I'm not going to stop
which
either. If
which
they're
means
watching, I'm
two.
not stopping. So
It means two things. Well, it could mean two things. Number one, the disclosure folks got to them. You know who they are. I mean, freaking, they're the ones who are on Rogan.
the
Anyway,
one's definitely afraid to talk to
yeah.
me about a
Anyway,
video of a plane disappearing with 3 orbs spinning around it that proves all of their physics real. I got
God,
it. Let
one
me just
day.
pop off for a second because the Hal Puthoff email is one of the weirdest. Like, why did
Oh
he
God.
even reply? It almost feels like his guilt forced him to reply to me. Because if you're just going to avoid all the questions and topics, why bother replying at all? Why send a 1 sentence answer back? This guy's talking about, oh, I don't know what aneutronic fusion and how orbs could be teleported. Buddy, what are you talking about? All your papers are explaining this exactly. Somebody made the best point. It's like Yoda saying he doesn't know what the force is.
This is the
Like,
man that wrote the paper on gravity as a space-time metric and exactly how, and me, what do you mean? No, says what? What? No, not
it's like, oh,
nothing.
hey, I'm watching a plane literally vanish out of space time like that. And you wrote the paper that my sources say you were nominated for a Nobel Prize for explaining this concept. You're not interested in
Not
talking about
once,
it?
but 3 times, I believe.
That's the ultimate giveaway. And
Yeah.
like, the
Anyway.
Lou Elizondo clip, which
Oh
I'm
man.
going to keep
Oh.
forever in my back pocket, of him talking to Glenn
Oh,
Beck.
don't get me started on that dude, man.
So let
He
me go
gave
with one
me.
more thing. Let me ask you another
I'll
question that
never
people will want
forgive
to
him
know.
for the phone calls that he initiated. I told you about it. How he wanted me to meet
Yeah.
Avril Hines, and anyway, I won't go into it. Go ahead, sir.
So you think the government has fusions figured out secretly?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. 100% sure. Yeah, but it's put it this way. There's some certain extremely intelligent individuals out there who realize that, for example, a company like Tri Alpha Energy is worth investing in.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that 1 second. One
Anyway,
more
yeah,
follow-up
yeah,
question.
yeah.
So
Go ahead.
yes, you think they are.
Oh,
Have you ever had people come talk to you about what you're allowed to say or not allowed to say publicly, or threaten you and say like, "Hey, don't talk about fusion"?
bro, I think Wikipedia did me the greatest favor in a way. In a way, they killed my chances of ever truly becoming mainstream. I think. Maybe one day, who knows, when somebody actually proves the Pais effect real, and it will happen. Mark my words, it will happen. Possibly an AGI will, but anyway, I won't go there yet. Um, the moment they said that my work was physics mumbo jumbo, physics work salad, quantum mumbo jumbo, a pseudoscience, you know, in a way they did me a favor, in a way a great disservice. But from the point of view, think about it.
So
Anyway.
is the reason because you got discredited, so they're not worried as much about controlling what you say? Is that your point?
I have a feeling. Oh, by the way, oh my God, I never gave a disclaimer, brother. I come upon this podcast as a private citizen. I hope they look at the spot. As a private citizen, I had my statements, my opinions are all my own. They have nothing to do with the United States Navy nor the United States Space Force. These are just the wild statements of an individual that knows a lot. I'll leave
Nah,
it
these
there.
are all official
Ah,
statements from the Navy and the government and the
no,
Secretary
never,
of War.
never,
They're
never,
all
never,
official.
never.
This is all. This is it. This is disclosure. This is the moment you're
Oh
hearing
yeah.
it.
Oh my
This is
God. Could you
official.
imagine? Could you imagine? All of a sudden, the screen goes black.
Okay, well, let's
Anyway,
talk about some of this stuff. What did you
yeah.
think about Venezuela? I mean, so people are just in the dark for some reason. Our special forces, supposedly Delta Force, just rolled up into the capital city, into a military installation, to a safe house where a president of a foreign country was hiding in a safe house, and extracted him with zero casualties, at least on our side. Well, what I mean, to me, the reason why I bring this up is MH370 videos are clearly an operation just from the way they're recorded. And I don't think people thought that an operation like that was even possible. People are posting old comments talking about people think that special forces are like the space marines. They can just do anything and go in anywhere. Well, we did and we can. And it shows to me your point that said people should not mess with America. We have weapons and technology and capabilities that are far beyond what people really understand in the public. What do you think?
100%, brother. As a matter of fact, this is what weapons of time speak to. The whole idea. It all starts with a very simple relation. Time is on the order of of one divided by frequency. It comes directly from Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. If you can, please to your followers give, I think it's called The Ancient Pathways by Evan Howell. He's a friend also of our brother Dave
Mhm.
Rossi, and his name again, Evan Howell. I had a recent pod with him on weapons of time. Glory be to Enki, as in the Sumerian Anunnaki. You should always bring in some mythology so you keep them guessing. But put it this way, brother, with weapons of time, it is as if, imagine winning all wars even before these wars are fought. That is the power of weapons of time.
You think that's
We are
possible?
the United States of America, brother. And as you well know, they can say whatever they want about us. They can call us all kind of names. They can call us fascists. They can call us all these things
Mhm.
they want to call us. The bottom line is they are, again, I almost slipped. They are afraid of us. And fear is for slaves. I'll just leave it there.
Do you think it's right for us to do what we're doing? I mean, if my perspective, geopolitical take is that we're using this weaponry, this advantage that we have, and leveraging it to expand our empire, for lack of a better term. I mean, you've got Venezuela has fallen. Iran, we could probably take out anytime we want. Same with Cuba. And I'd say if that happens, don't be surprised. Greenland, we're just going to take Greenland from the Europe, and who knows? I'm even throwing out there, maybe we'll just take Canada and assimilate Canada. What do you think? Do you think this is appropriate? Do you think this is ethical to do
Again,
this?
as a private citizen, look at the continent. Imagine being Fortress America. Some people will call it the American Empire, whatever you want to call it, is still supreme among all other nations right now. So my opinion is this: either be with us or dot dot dot.
I'm with you. I'm trying to keep neutral, but I can't pretend like it. I'm a huge America first kind of guy. And I'm actually seeing the shift in the political realms. And this is the reason why I started talking about politics. And people wonder, Ashton, why are you talking about politics? You can't disconnect this technology. I mean,
But brother,
especially for, go ahead.
we have to become united. Some sort
Yeah.
of unification factor has to come in. Because remember that great man that once said, a house divided cannot stand. A house divided cannot stand. Imagine the strength, imagine the power of this nation if we were united. Unification. We have to somehow become united. Enough with this polarized nonsense. And enough with this person saying this person is this. And we're all American. We all have the objective to become the best nation in the world. Why? Because we truly are the last bastion of freedom. If we fall, it is over for mankind. There's so many bad, I want to say it really bad, but I won't because, they're bad, okay? It is hard to be good in a world filled with bad, you know what? And that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. So either we have this power and we are able, because of who we are, because of our foundation. Again, this year is the 250th anniversary of the greatest nation in the history of mankind, the great Rousseau thought of us and what we could become. Our founding fathers. Think about it. These were at one point in time a bunch of rebels that put their freaking John Hancock on a document that could have had all of them hung or, God forbid, impaled, if you must.
So
And
you're in
they
support of
succeeded.
our expansionism, is what I'm hearing. But
we have a God destined. We have a great destiny which we must fulfill. There will be many that call us all kind of names, but again, America first, America greatest, America best.
I have to say, I am pleased at the direction that we've been taking. We've been doing it. I think Jason Giorgiani would agree. And people wonder why. Like, why are you taking this stance? And for me, Sal just kind of laid it out, which is that this isn't going to work in the long run if we're all at each other's throats, if we're all adversaries. So this is the reason why I believe that America should be expanding our influence, because the one world government, like, maybe we don't want to have tyrants controlling us, but we do need some level of unification. Otherwise, we're going to blow ourselves up. We're going to blow this whole planet up. We're not going to make it, guys. So this is, I think, the harsh, dark reality of our circumstances that we're facing here. And it would also explain why not just America, but other countries too, would you agree, are hiding this information, this knowledge, this physics, this science?
There's so many brilliant people out there, brother. And it doesn't matter of their nationality, doesn't matter of their skin color, doesn't matter who they are. They exist. There's no way that only we have this kind of ideas, this kind of technology.
I mean, you see
No
China
way.
working on, like, they have a FRC plasma fusion reactor that they've been building and testing. And all the stuff about the drones has been speculated to either be Russia or China drones. So it's not like, just like us and the whole idea of alien physics. If we figured something out, then Russia and China can figure it out too. Now, they may not have as advanced versions as we do, but they can still figure out the core
Some of
concept.
the greatest mathematician physicists are Russians.
Yeah.
They have come up with ideas, and even though they've been rendered, for example, like Nikolai Kozyrev, for God's sake, everybody makes fun of him, but nobody says this guy actually took the Einstein-Cartan equations, which is what you need for what he was trying to look at, and he developed a certain theory. Look carefully at his theory before you put the man down and call him a crackpot, a crank, and charlatan, even though before he came up with these ideas of torsion fields, he was one of the greatest astrophysicists in existence.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Let's talk about DJT. So, if the other news that's happened over the last few weeks is Trump Media and Technology Group, which is their stock ticker is DJT, has merged with Tri Alpha Energy. Tri Alpha Energy, one of, if maybe the oldest fusion company, private fusion company, if not the oldest, possibly one of the oldest, and one of only two companies that is doing field reverse configuration with high beta. This blew me away out of nowhere because Trump Media Group owns Truth Social. They don't have anything to do with fusion. So why are they merging with this fusion company? And the deal was supposedly valued at around $6 billion. For the people that are wondering, this means that the moment the deal officially goes through, Tri Alpha Energy is officially part of DJT stock. So they avoided any IPOs. This immediately makes basically TAE becomes a public entity underneath the Donald Trump's stock. This was wild to me. And the bigger thing was that when I was reviewing your paper again, going back to it, here it is again for people that want to see it. I was looking through your sources, and this is where I was talking about Bussard and looking into his stuff, and I found this guy Jae Young Park, who you also quoted here.
Dr. Park is a very smart man. After all, you don't become chief scientist of TAE by
well, you
being
just
a
spoiled it. You
fool.
just spoiled the reveal.
Oh,
So he
sorry.
became, he let, I guess, Polywell fell apart or something, became defunct in 2019. And Jae Young Park then joined Tri Alpha Energy as a lead scientist, which I thought was interesting because I was trying to figure out what's the connection between field reverse configuration and what Polywell was doing. So I guess I'll just ask you, since you're clearly the expert. I mean, I'm looking at your scientific paper referencing all of these things together. What's the connection?
Brother,
Why
they
was he
call me a
interested in what?
crackpot. I'm no expert. No, listen. First and foremost, as a private citizen, this is just my opinion. This is again because of the Hatch Act. I have to be very careful
Yeah.
what I say, but I must say that my hats off to the advisors of our president because he has some of the top scientific advisors. This talks directly to Project Stargate. Think about the whole idea of what would power these quote unquote gigawatt data centers for the supercomputers that are required to bring AGI to life, eventually the singularity against an artificial super intelligence, even though I choose to call it a machine super intelligence. It's just my thing. This artificial, there's nothing artificial about it. It's a
Mhm.
very natural thing, and it comes from our mode of thinking. The whole idea of generative pre-trained transformers, the whole idea of attention is everything. Ilya Sutskever, among others. These are phenomenal minds. Sutskever should win a Nobel Prize one day. But anyway, he is Sir Jeffrey. I think it's Sir, should be Sir Jeffrey Hinton's uh, best pupil, apt pupil, let's call him that. But anyway, yeah, so my hat off to that. Number one. Number two, uh, the Polywell device is one of a kind. It was extremely well thought out, and as you well know, as you can see carefully, it was a certain other individual that used to work for Lockheed Martin. I think he still does. I forget his name. Was it
Thomas
Wright?
McGuire.
McGuire. That's it. Anyway,
Oh wait, what
yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
I noticed you referenced him here as well.
The physics. Yeah. Do you know at the 2019 AIAA SciTech conference, Lockheed Martin was there, and I was supposed to. I actually asked a question to them about this,
Where it went?
and it never got back to me. He never answered it. I asked Dr. McGuire a very interesting question. I still remember the. All of a sudden, you could hear a pin drop in the whole audience. That the whole thing was filled. The guy from Lockheed just complete silence. So I
What'd you
must
ask
have
him?
really. Uh, it has to do with this beta squares on the order of r cubed. This
What do
idea
you
of
say?
the compact fusion device. He didn't answer it. He said that he will contact Dr. McGuire. Never heard back. But anyway, so
Hmm.
yeah,
Is this the Dr. McGuire? Is this his son? I'm kind of confused about this
I
actually.
believe this is the young dude.
You,
So I'm not sure if it's. I think it's a son.
Fusion is a much safer.
yeah, I kind of feel like there's some
Him,
nepotism thing
him.
going on here, right? Like, I think this is his son. That's
Maybe
he's too
maybe
young,
they keep
right?
it in the
Option.
family.
A next
You
gen.
know.
Yeah, it's kind of
Anyway,
what I'm
yeah,
wondering because I've seen other
yeah.
images as well as of older dude, and I'm like, huh. So, okay, I mean, you've got a fusion. You have a fusion patent paper that we were looking at right there. That's from 2019, right? That
Yeah,
paper, 2018, something like that.
yeah.
And you're referencing a bunch of very specific fusion reactors that are all using the same concept that in 2019 nobody I could even imagine unless you were in the black world, unless you were working directly in fusion, would understand what you're talking about. And this was blowing me away because now I understand it, but I only understand it in 2024, 2025, not 2019, 2018.
And that's why you could hear a pin drop in the auditorium when I asked that question to Lockheed Martin. Oh,
Yeah.
shit, Dr.
So what do
McGuire never
you,
got back to
because
me.
aren't you speaking to something? I mean, what we're talking about here is
Because
that
all the spice effect stuff is in the wide world, brother. It's in the wide world. And this has nothing to do with working on legacy programs and so forth.
yeah,
Yes, I've worked on certain things, but they have nothing to do with this. This is
what
something that
that's fine.
I noticed from the heaviside version of Maxwell's equations. That's simple. Because again, simple is good, while complex is not. That's what drives everything.
What you're speaking to, though, is a different understanding of fusion. One not based on temperature, one not based on increasing the temperature of your plasma,
But I just
one that
showed
uses
you
high
how,
beta.
just by from a first approximation of the ideal gas law. You see why? Energy density is on the order of temperature, while energy density can also be on the order of what? A characteristic speed squared. So if you go that path, if you somehow able to accelerate your plasma into the core, you will get much better results than just by going by temperature alone, because the temperature relationship is linear while the other one is non-linear. And you know what non-linearities do, especially in a non-linear medium,
So are you
which
just
plasma
speaking to
is.
yeah, you're just speaking to like a negative voltage well then that is then attracting it to accelerate the positive ions towards it, just like the fusion, like the Polywell's devices.
That's
And how is
exactly
Tri
what
Alpha
the
Energy? How are they
PCFD
doing that
does.
with FRC?
It's exactly what they're doing. Uh, a, the negative potential, I'm not sure exactly how they do that. I think they just keep it confined. See, my thing achieves the negative potential well, just like Polywell, and you can control it. That's why
Is it-
I'm
mm.
amazed nobody took on the dynamic. There were some rumors, you know. uh, I won't mention names, but a certain guy from the Senate Armed Service Committee that was very interested. He was the one that went to PAX, interviewed everybody about the patents and so forth. See, he supposedly worked on a CRADA with someone in Canada. I don't know anything else. Only that, don't forget, the Air Force was very interested in this thing as well and gave it to somebody to look into the theory. And the results, I've never seen the results. Nobody contacted me. It's strange how this stuff happens anyway.
So are we saying that we are increasing the energy density without it getting hot? Or are we saying it's still going to get hot, but we're just achieving the
Extremely
temperature
hot.
increase in a different way?
Extremely hot, but you're driving it a different manner.
Yeah.
Now, by by building this negative potential well, you're accelerating the ions within the core. These things have much, because the cross section will be through the roof. These things will want to fuse
Mm-hmm.
just by the nature of the physics. It's all about acceleration, man. Acceleration. One day the Pais effect will be proved correct. Not only correct, but the source of some unbelievable physics. Not new physics. This is old physics,
Yeah.
but a new perspective on old physics.
Well, let me ask two more questions then on that line. So is there a connection between this negative potential well and negative energy?
The way I understand like a negative energy density would be like think about what is energy density. It's a pressure. So it's like a negative pressure. Remember Dave Frohning's paper? Look into Dave Frohning's paper, how he talks about the conditioned vacuum. How, as a matter of fact, he contacted me before he passed. He was very intrigued with the Pais effect. Let's just put that. Froning and Paul Murad were the two people that were on my side, always saying, "You got it,
Paul Murad was
you
on your
got it,
side?
kid, you got it." Oh, Paul Murad, definitely. Oh yeah,
Was he buddies with Frank Mead?
of course. Very, very good. He was great friend of John Brandenburg too. John
Man,
Brandenburg, when he
weird
saw
world.
the Superforce, we wrote a paper together.
I don't get what's up with John Brandenburg. Like, he feels like, I don't want to speak ill of anybody, but like he just says some weird stuff now, and like I don't really understand what his situation is, but clearly he was connected to a lot of this stuff too. I mean, I don't know, but
He's a very intelligent man. Just leave
yeah.
it there. And trust me, his idea of what happened on Mars, brother, holy camole, dude. You got to look into this stuff. We truly, as a certain gentleman, Graham Hancock, and I can mention his name because what I'm about to say is very positive. He said, "We are a civilization with amnesia."
Yeah.
100%. There are things that have happened in our past, that we have no clue. Yeah.
Do you think that the non-equilibrium amplification, or whatever we're gonna call it, is connected at all to 0 point energy? Or do you think there's a connection at all to fusion and 0 point energy? I mean, I may be leading this idea, but I'm not committed to it. But this idea that fusion is in some way tapping 0 point energy, are we going to figure out that when we start doing these aneutronic fusion reactions, are we going to see excess energy?
Remember Castle Bravo?
Yeah, 2.5 times higher.
This
So,
whole idea of lithium 6 and 7. Anyway, I won't go into
but they can
weapons. There's
still
no need to.
rationalize that as
Yeah.
just being a chemical reaction without something else,
Not,
right?
we're talking about doubling the yield.
Yeah. You're saying that the
Uh,
yield, no, 2.5 times. It was supposed to be a 6 yield, and it was 15 megatons. So are you saying that there's no way that the chemical reaction can account for that excess energy?
Pause. A very pregnant pause.
Gravity class
But
pause.
think of
Whoa.
it this way. Think of it this way. Think of it this way. An electron left to its own accord in 10 to the minus 11 seconds, about 10 to the minus 11 seconds, would decay into the nucleus, so spiral into the nucleus. Something prevents it. Anyway,
You agree with Hal Puthoff then?
one thing about Putov, man, even though he spoke against me, even though
Yeah, he's still
his
smart as hell.
lapdog over there, Davis, freaking said what he said to Stratton. Anyway, let bygones be bygones. It's a new year. Anyway, he still is a great, great man, truly on a genius level.
Let me explain why before people don't understand why we're glazing him here. Because I was testing Sal there because I didn't even have to say what the paper was I was mentioning. I knew he would know. I'm talking about the ground state of the hydrogen atom. Anybody that follows me probably knows I mention it all the time. Sal's saying that the electron should decay into the nucleus. So if we imagine an atom the electrons are the little planets flying around the sun of our atom. Well, he says in 10 to the minus 11, which is a really, 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 really short time, the electron should decay and crash into the nucleus, but it doesn't. Why doesn't it do that? That's literally the question of Hal Puthoff's ground state of the hydrogen atom. He says the reason why that doesn't happen, and by the way, this is a question that quantum mechanics and classical physics still can't really explain. They just kind of hand wave it away. And this is a big question of quantum mechanics for a long time. So, and so that's why Hal Puthoff was asking that question. He says it's because the 0 point energy is feeding it energy. It is radiating energy away, but it's getting this excess energy. It needs to stay stable in its orbit from the 0 point energy field. So the reason why I asked that to Sal, obviously, is because if that's true, if there is some source that the electrons are just always pulling energy from, then if you pull on those electrons and pull some energy from them, in theory, it will recuperate. And now you're like, wait a minute. Does that mean that fusion is going to tap into some energy source out there? But if it is, then what? My question to you then is, if that's the case,
depending on your device, the plasma compression fusion device, baby. One day, somebody will pick it up and realize, let's not discuss its weaponization, which is, it would make your Tsar Bomba look like a firecracker.
Yeah.
All right. So let's not go there.
So anyway, the problem is that if we can pull energy from the vacuum, now you can make a weapon that's really just your imagination is the limit at that point. I mean, right? So
an earth
how are we going to realize it? Like, now that we've painted the picture and we said, okay, we've talked about
out that planet that was supposed to be where it was supposed to be.
What? Are you talking about Planet X?
No, not Nibiru. There was I believe, a certain gentleman whose name now escapes me. Shouldn't, because this man was one of Navy's best. He was actually the director of the Naval Observatory, I believe, who hypothesized that there should have been a planet where the asteroid belt is. I forget the name, but I'm pretty sure if you AI it, you'll,
The theory that the asteroid belt used to be a planet that got ripped apart. They claim that Jupiter would have ripped it apart from tidal forces, but I don't know about all that.
I don't know that, brother. All I know is that once upon a time, there was the Book of Creation, the Enuma Elish, the Sumerian Book of Creation, and I actually speak to it on Evan Howell's The Ancient Pathways. Look at this latest Weapons of Time, Glory be to Enki. There were certain weapons that the great gods used. As a matter of fact, this particular weapon belonged to the great god Tiamat, the great dragon of the Abzu. And Joseph Farrell would come in incredibly right now. Trust me, you have to have Dr. Farrell on. The way he speaks of these, they were called the Tablets of Destiny. And I believe they were weapons of time.
Well, let's talk about that in a second.
Some of them will not be destroyed. Imagine that. Anyway,
Well, so let me ask, because this is a side quest to your question for you, is that we have this advanced technology, we have fusion, we probably have gravitational wave communication devices. I mean, I know we have quantum radar stuff, so we probably also have gravity telescopes. With all this technology, we must know a lot more. Somebody must know a lot more about the circumstances of our civilization. This is a big question that the UFO people ponder, is that if this stuff is real, what does it mean about our civilization? Are we in a prison planet? How many alien species? But you don't see a lot of people asking the question about what are the real circumstances of our existence? And if we can see much further, detect things, we must have a much better idea of, like, for example, that if the asteroid belt is actually like a planet, like maybe we are able to tell what minerals are in the various rocks, be like, oh, they're all exactly the same. Clearly, this would indicate they're all from the same source. You know, stuff like that. Do you think something like that exists? And if it does exist, At what level? Under what agency? Well, who would know about the CIA?
According to the Enuma Elish, the great book of creation, the Sumerian book of creation, and refer to the Oxford edition, because there are people who would say, "Oh, don't refer to people like Zachariah Sitchin because he didn't understand Sumerian, his misinterpret." Whatever, man, whatever.
Yeah.
Just the whole idea is the great God Enki, at the behest of his son Marduk, took the great geneticist Ninursag and created the Adamu, the first man, who was meant to be a slave to do what? Mine gold for the Anunnaki, the children of heaven and earth.
Mm.
I'll just leave it there. Keep on following this train of thought. They also
So,
have the 7 great gods of the Anunnaki in their pantheon. I believe Greece has 7 gods as well. But anyway, dude, the truth of the matter is, again, Graham Hancock, we are a civilization with amnesia. And sometimes I believe that it somehow was driven into us genetically. For example,
so
this whole idea that we need to worship. It's as if we have a worshiping gene. Why, for example, there is a list of kings before the flood that lived 30, 45,000 years. And all of a sudden, after the flood, you have regular lifespans. Question all these, because myth could become history. Remember the great Heinrich Schliemann with a copy of what? Was it the Iliad? The Iliad under his arm. He found what is beginning, or rather, some people believe to be Troy. How?
hmm.
These were quote unquote myths.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah, and I want to uncover them, but the reality is we're not going to do it by just going back to ancient books. We got to have some new evidence, and that's why I'm asking: do you think that the government knows way more about the circumstances, and do you think they have hard evidence that shows it? And if so, where's that hiding? Who do you think controls that evidence? Because I doubt it's the Navy. I doubt it's any military organization. It'd have to be intelligence, right?
I believe the knowledge has been imparted to certain organizations
Mm.
um, throughout history. It
What?
There is no way. Put it this way: if you were to create something, would you just let it go? Would you just let it be?
Probably not,
That
but
that would
maybe.
become. Remember Charles Fort. Remember what he says in his Book of the Damned, chapter 12. I think we are property, brother. We are property.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah.
Um. Okay. What else did I want to ask? Sorry, I lost my train of thought right there. So let's um so somebody knows more about what's going on in my opinion. And I think that also Bussard in his discussion spoke pretty openly about this idea that the Department of Energy would block any technologies that broached on fusion because they have the charter for it. That seemed really odd to me because I would think that everybody would be wanting me trying to solve fusion. DOE should be supportive of anybody that's going to do or figure out a better method for it. But Bussard just mentioned multiple times that said that, if we tried to get the $100 million funding from the DoD, they were afraid that Department of Energy would just come in and step in and shut it down. I have to wonder if that's also something similar that happened to you and your patents, because you speak openly about people showing up and saying, yeah, don't let these, don't support this, don't fund this.
Brother,
Sorry, that's
look at ITER, ITER,
yeah.
ITER. Some people say ITER because it eats all those billions of dollars. Think about it. Based on what we just brought about, what the whole idea of the polyworld fusion, what the whole idea of the plasma compression fusion device is truly based on. Beta square is on the order of R cubed. If you're trying to optimize, you want beta on the order of 1, which means what? You want a compact fusion device to have fusion, especially a neutronic fusion, which requires extremely high temperature on the order of billions of Celsius to occur. Which means what? This thing is humongous. It's freaking like a building. You should see this little thing next to it. It's called a man. A 6 footer next to this, I don't know, high rise. I don't know what
I
else to call
mean,
it. So come
y-
on, man.
you're pretty much
You
saying that
already
they're just
know the
committing
answer.
fraud, though, you know? I mean, that's what's happening, right? Like, this is fraud because from a scientific perspective, you can just say, look at beta squared r cubed. Your device cannot be that big. It will not work. It cannot work. It can never produce net power that will be beneficial for electric generation. So it's already dead on arrival. The ITER is already dead on arrival. ITER, which is it's Europe, I think, that's leading the charge on ITER. They're building a giant fusion reactor, but they're doing it tokamak style, and it's not even meant to be online until like 2035, and it's not meant to produce energy for the grid anyway. It's just to be a research type thing.
Definitely
So
never meet ignition condition, which means
yeah, it's
the
never going to meet emission
the
condition. No.
plasma will be self-sustaining fusion. So no.
So you look at this and you just go, it's crazy that if you're right, if I'm right about the MH370 videos, then no doubt the billions of dollars that have been getting pushed into tokamaks and hot fusion are fraud, straight up fraud, because there are people at some level somewhere that know that that was never going to be the solution because they already know what the real solution is, high beta concept. And I think that's leaking out, which is why I brought up the Donald J. Trump, the DJT stock, because that's a perfect example. Like the president is in a position to know about weapons that the rest of the people don't know about. And if he's going to send his advisor to invest in a company, it's
Yes, some
going to
great
be.
advisors, that's for sure. Some real,
I
real
mean, listen to
scientific
Devin
knowledge.
Nunes talk about it. They know 100%. He's like, this is a crown jewel. They've got science. They're doing something nobody else is doing. He's saying all this stuff about it. He's saying that this is $1 trillion bet if we're
Mr.
right.
Nunez is a very smart man.
He's very smart. Definitely knows. Okay, let's change gears.
Yep.
I want to talk about reverse temporal excursion
Ah,
because two reasons. One, I'm not sure I fully understand it. And
okay.
second, I'm not sure I'm a believer. I'm
Okay.
like,
I like
my
that.
reason is this.
I like a challenge, baby. Come on. Put up your dukes now, kidding, brother.
Here's my problem. And this is a thought
Uh,
experiment.
Go ahead.
This is the thought experiment that the reason why I struggle against going back in time is that if time travel is possible, reverse time travel specifically, retro causality, and I'm just speaking in the general terms here, then that means that it's going to get figured out. Even if we don't have it now, it will get figured out at some point in the future. And that means that at some point in the future, someone will come back in time. And the future is a really, really long time in the future. So, in theory, this means that essentially every point in history should be getting manipulated by people who are time traveling, in my opinion. And yet, we see no evidence that there's time travel manipulation. The time stream's not falling apart. You might say that that if you believe in like the Mandela effect, you might say that that's a thing that's happening, but I think the evidence is pretty slim there. There should still be like photos and stuff like that if that were the case, and there should be a lot more than just a couple of things. So this is the big reason why I struggle with it. And then also listening to all the Black Project engineers, John Kramer specifically, they speak pretty openly about the idea that the smartest physicists in the world did not think that it was going to be possible, that there would be something that prevents retrocausality. So when you say, okay, well, we can, break the arrow of time, I want to understand conceptually what that means. Does that necessarily mean that time can flow in any direction? Or does that just mean that time is stopped at the point of the singularity relative to everything else? Because those would be two completely different interpretations, one that would allow for retrocausality and one that might not.
Get ready, baby. You ready? All
Woo,
right.
I'm ready.
Space is a macroscopic quantum structure from which our cosmic reality arises. Time is a peculiar type of informational energy which permeates the structure. Think about the words, they're not just words. Paint the picture, permeates the structure. Once you break the Schwinger limit, you have ripped apart the space time continuum locally. Hence, the so called arrow of time, the whole idea that entropy will always increase with time. is no longer valid. This goes against the whole idea of the chronology protection conjecture of Hawking. Thereby, it is quite possible that this peculiar type of informational energy can be manipulated in such a way that what you understand as past events can be changed without alteration of to the future events. This whole idea of causality no longer has any meaning once you break the swing limit, once you destroy this arrow of time.
You're saying we wouldn't even recognize if if the past got changed?
You saw this guy here. Here's an interesting idea about aliens being us coming back. McMaster's, I believe his name is. Here's
Yeah.
a interesting take on
Mike Masters?
what time travel. I forget what his name is, but
Yeah.
I think it was on Rogan. I think Rogan had him recently.
Yeah, yeah,
Here's
that guy.
this thing with the. Here's an interesting take on it. Put it this way, brother. The mathematical physics to me makes sense. Minus delta t is on the order of this tau sub s that truly has to do with breaking the Schwinger limit
Mm,
times delta omega divided by omega square. It's
mm,
a simple, again, I go by this, I call it the Pais doctrine of physical engineering. Simple is good, while complex is not. This
mm,
is very simple. It arises directly from Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. You take the chain rule, you get this. The whole idea is this tau of S is based on breaking the Schwinger limit. And that's what makes it 10 to the 25 times that fraction r sub s divided by r sub omega times epsilon 0 divided by sigma sub s squared.
mm,
It's
mm,
dimensionally consistent. Can check. Because the whole idea is this electromagnetic energy flux is on the order of what? C times epsilon 0 E squared, where E is your electric field strength. Now,
mm.
E, your electric field strength, is on the order of what? C, the speed of light, times B, the B field, magnetic induction. Brother, keep it simple, and you shall find the solution to the most complex problem in existence. This whole idea of beta square is on the order of R cubed. It could have told either ITER, whatever the hell they call it. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to be
Mm.
nice. Why are you building a high rise? Why are you going for tokamak? It should be spherical. It should be small.
Yeah.
Get it?
And I guess the time travel thing,
All right.
it's not that the math, I agree, the math all checks out. Don't disagree at all there. I think it's the concept of what does that mean from a conceptual reality is the hard part. And the reason why I do give it some credit and don't dismiss it as well. I saw an airplane disappear out of the sky. And the thing that bugs me about MH370 disappearing out of the sky in those videos is how the clouds don't move. Like the way that it's happening is seems unnatural. Seem like
Very good
magic when you see
observation.
it.
Very
And
good observation.
and so when I say that, I go,
And don't
huh.
forget the reflection. Don't forget the wave within the abzu, the void. The void within the vacuum. That's key. The
Yeah, seeing
void
the
within the vacuum.
reflection of
This
the
is what
tail of the
Froning
plane
was
come out.
talking about when he said conditioned vacuum. That's what this negative energy density is all about. You're creating it.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the superfluid nature of our universe, that is more than 99.999% plasma. And one day, please have me on to talk about this whole idea of the triarchy of creation. This whole idea is the superforce acting at the super density condition that generates a super bang, leading, because of the plasma nature of our universe, to a super intelligence, which one day we shall mimic via machine super intelligence. How can the two be apart from one another when it is us that coupled them.
I think
Think.
you'll enjoy my my next Hard Truths podcast, which is going to drop this week.
Oh, beautiful.
With Wyatt Meldman Flock. He was a intern at SETI, and he does AI and other stuff like that. And we spoke about a lot of some of these concepts and the idea of AI, intelligence, machine intelligence, and then what's going to happen with humanity. So, yeah, I think, you can see the convergence of all of these ideas happening. I think this is why the disclosure people say that there's like this timeline, because you can see that we've got fusion that's being rolled out, and it seems like in a very controlled fashion that will then just coincide with the requirements of the AI data centers. And
But it serves a purpose, exactly, to serve the data centers. So it's the perfect.
Wondering, like, hey, why didn't we have these AI? Why didn't we have this fusion before? We had data centers before, but we just didn't care about using fusion before. But like, oh, now everybody's all about fusion all of a sudden, suddenly. And by the way, there's a couple companies that have like been quietly in the backgrounds and the shadows for like 20 to 30 years, and now the president's merging with them. Like, go ahead. Sorry.
No,
Were you gonna say something?
Very astute observation, brother. As usual, your research, and not only your research, but your analytical manipulation of that research is sui generis, unique.
Let's ask. I want to do more time travel stuff, because Palmer Luckey, that guy's a real interesting guy.
Oh my God, I would love to meet that man. I would love. Palmer Luckey and I in a room in a skiff together, all the kind of stuff we could talk about.
He knows some stuff.
Who am I? I'm a nobody.
I think he's what they like, because he's like a happy-go-lucky guy that is very.
I love his shirts, his Hawaiian shirts, dude.
He's so intelligent, cool. But he's so nonchalant. At the same time, like, he knows where the line is about what he's allowed to talk about, what he can't. So he'll gleefully tell you about stuff that he's allowed to talk about, but he's very intelligent enough to know not to talk about what is national security.
But he's very political, and he doesn't care who knows it. It cost him his job. Oculus,
did you see
Meta.
The thing he said about the whales? He said that we can find all the whales in the ocean, but we don't want to find the whales. We just want to find the submarines. I just thought this was really weird, because I talk about a missing airplane that we're searching for right now, by the way. And how are people just oblivious to the fact that if the military wanted to find a missing Boeing 777, it wouldn't matter where on Earth it is. It wouldn't even matter if it's in the core of the Earth. I feel like they still would be able to find it, even if it was underground somewhere. In the ocean, of course they would be able to find it. You guys crazy? They can find every whale in the ocean, but you don't think they can find a Boeing 777?
Brother, in order, see, you've gotten to a point where your physics is explaining way too much. And I think it's starting to make certain people very, very, very nervous.
Good.
So my opinion is that they will try very hard to plant something somewhere just to basically say, see, we found it. But I'll tell you right off the bat, there are people out there, they're really worried, I have a feeling. Truly worried. Because the physics speaks to this. Speaks to the MH370 videos. And you should never go against your instinct, your physical instinct.
Yeah,
brother, when I saw those freaking orbs start pulsating, I said, oh my God.
That's what you think they're doing when they're spinning around the plane? Pulsating?
Anyway, I knew what would happen before. This is what got me. This is what got me.
Do you know what Palmer Luckey said, though? Palmer Luckey said, when he was asked about the UFO stuff, he said something I had never thought of. And I'm going to pay a lot more attention to Palmer Luckey now, because I think he knows more than he says. He said,
the guy's a genius.
He said, going back in time is too difficult. What if they come from the past? Because going forward in time is actually really simple. That's just time dilation. So why can't the answer, why does it have to be that the aliens come from the future? Couldn't the aliens be us, but from the past? Because just like you said, you're all about civilization resetting. So civilization in the past could be way more advanced than we are currently right now. So couldn't they have just gone forward to the future and then colonized us here?
Brother, anything is possible. I'm just talking about physics here. It occurred to me that something extremely simple, like time is on the order of 1 divided by frequency, that comes directly from Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. All right? Directly. dpdx is on the order of h bar. Delta E, delta T is on the order of h bar. Hence, because Planck's energy E is on the order of h bar omega, boom, you have delta T is on the order of 1 divided by delta omega. The moment anybody that knows anything about, again, differential calculus, at initial conditions T omega 0, 0, you get what? You get T is on the order of 1 divided by omega. Again, a macroscopic quantum phenomena coming directly from Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So even if you didn't realize that dimensionally this is correct, and there must be physicality to it, time is on the order of 1 divided by frequency, comes directly from first principles. Once you take the chain rule, this happens, this minus delta t. What is the physicality of a minus delta t but reverse temporal excursion? This is all I'm saying. Go with the instinctual physics. This is intuitive physics. In my opinion, one day it should break all shackles. Intuitive physics. Again, simple is good, while complex is not.
Hmm. This reminded me of a video I kind of wanted to play. I'm trying to look for it. Oh yeah, here it is. I got it right here. I want to play this for you. Something that I've wondered a lot about, and I think my audience has wondered a lot about, is the fine structure constant
Oh, I
and the
love it.
significance of the fine structure constant. I think you spoke about it in one of our earlier interviews that
It's
we
the
did.
electromagnetic force divided by strong nuclear force.
Oh
This
no, I just
ratio,
hold
Feynman
on.
called it, along with Euler's relationship of e to the I
Yeah,
pi
don't
plus
ruin.
1 equals
You're
0,
ruining
one
it.
of the greatest. It is. It is.
You're
I mean, this
spoiling
is
it
the
here. Hold
genius
on.
of Feynman. Sorry about that. You know me. I got to
It's
go on
okay.
so many tangents, eventually get to Rome, but yeah, there's
I
only one
found
via up. Yeah.
this. I found this interview here. It's alternate propulsion, one of the Tim Ventura affiliates, by this guy. I don't know how to say his name, but very, very interesting interview. And it's all about using Maxwell's equations and
Mhm.
kind of getting them to fit for inertial manipulation.
Thrust force, or by equating the corresponding energy densities, we can establish a theoretical link electricity with gravity and magnetism with inertia by analogy. Setting the gravitational permittivity equal to 4 pi multiplied by the gravitational constant, we can then derive its counterpart, the inertial permeability, in analogy with the magnetic permeability of electromagnetism in Maxwell theory. Furthermore, by defining electromagnetic mass and integrating it with the new expressions dg and di, these two have Newton per kilogram or meter per second square as the units of these two expressions. We arrive at the concept of the electrons or positrons' effective massless electromagnetic mass. Remarkably, when this electromagnetic mass is divided by Planck's mass and squared as a ratio, it unexpectedly yields the fine structure constant.
Okay, what does that mean? Oh, there we go.
Remember in my superforce paper that I actually, by using the fine structure constant, I showed that at the Planck scale, your strong nuclear force equals the gravitational force. So the highest, the greatest force known to man, the strong nuclear force that occurs on the order of 10 to the minus 15 meters, so on the order of 1 femtometer. Okay. But if the strong nuclear force was to be taken at the Planck scale, the gravitational force and the strong nuclear force are equal because of the fine structure constant. This fine structure constant is something that somehow was engineered into the fabric of space-time at the quantum level from the very beginning. This is what I'm talking about as super intelligence must exist. This whole idea of cyclical cosmology by Roger Penrose.
Mhm.
It's the super intelligence in a way reinventing itself. It tries to gain new understanding, new knowledge. It's quite possible that species that have evolved in the past
Huh.
are never to be seen again.
So you agree that the fine structure constant is some baseline code of reality that, I mean, because that's how I look at it, is like, why is this number significant? Why, when you calculate, do you come
Extreme
back to this number?
significance. Extreme significance. Feynman, to his dying day, believed that this was a clue to everything and all. And Feynman was no fool.
Interesting. Okay, well, honestly, Sal, that's what I wanted to discuss with you here today. Is there anything else that you wanted to chat about on for this particular podcast?
Brother, just weapons of time quickly. All right.
Sure.
In my opinion, it is possible to design, develop, and field temporal weapons, weapons of time, which would greatly disrupt the arsenals of nations. Imagine the ability to win all wars, even before those wars are fought. Imagine the ability to win all wars, even before those wars are fought. Please take a look at Evan Howells, The Ancient Pathway. There's a certain episode with me that he has called Weapons of Time, Glory Be to Enki, mentioning the Sumerian deity brother of Enlil. It's very interesting.
Hmm.
This is nothing new. I believe these existed at one point in time. They were called the Tablets of Destiny, and the great gods used them in a certain cosmic war. I know right now it's going off tangent, but trust me, you got to get Dr. Joseph Farrell on to
I'm
truly
trying.
understand the nature of plasma. It's a very, that would be an incredible quad. Have you, me, him, and Dave on, Dave Rossi on. That quad would be amazing. And convince him that we're not here to in any way disparage his theories. No, not at all. The physics that we're talking about talks to them. This man, you have to read this book called Secrets of the Unified Field. This is no regular mind. This man should have been a physicist. Anyway, leave it there.
I agree. I hope he's out there, and I hope he sees this. And I would say that it'll happen eventually. I tell people that, and people wonder, like, how do you know it's going to happen? Because I know those videos are real. I know the physics is real, and so it's just a matter of time. We're just in a situation right now where we're ahead of the game. We're just really, really, really far ahead of the game. Maybe decades, and we're hoping that we're slowly getting closer to that goal. I said, and I think we both said, people asked me a long time ago, they said, Ashton, how are you going to get disclosure? What's the next thing? What do we do? Well, you've been watching it. The reason why I'm interviewing people like Salvatore Pais here and researching all these scientific papers is this is what disclosure is, about educating people. It's about getting them more knowledgeable so that it doesn't seem absolutely ridiculous when we start talking about plasma orbs and concepts like teleportation, wormholes. These are not, we have to demystify that. So that's what the goal is here, and I hope you guys have appreciated it. Thank you, Sal, for joining me. Any last thoughts?
Again, simple is good, while complex is not. ITER, whatever, against the Polywell device or the plasma compression fusion device, or Lockheed Martin's compact fusion device. I leave it up to your audience to decide which path should we go. All right.
You heard it there, guys. Tokamak's a scam. Department of Energy's fraud. 420 YOLO swag, no scope. Peace out, everybody. Thank you very much. And thank you all for the donations as well. I'll hit those up in the comments, guys. Appreciate it. Later.